Right then, guys, let's get into the main chunk of the video then. So the video title is obviously how to transition from a like a fat loss phase to a gaining phase, or a prep to a off season, whatever you want to call it. These sort of tips will be relevant whether it's from a prep to an off season, or whether it's just from a fat loss phase to a gaining phase. So first of all, we're going to look at nutrition. With sort of experience for myself and with clients, and generally for majority of people, you're going to be wasting your time if you just try and add in like 50 calories to 100 calories at a time as you come out of a fat loss phase or a prep. Get your food up. Just get your food up. It makes sense just to get sort of probably between, depending on the individual, 500 to 1,000 calories up on your normal what you've been doing, sort of on your normal diet. I would definitely use refeed data. So if you weren't refeeding in the off season, in the prep or the fat loss phase, then obviously it's going to be a little bit harder. But generally, your refeed data will show you where either your maintenance calories are or a slight surplus will be. So when you've been refeeding, the goal of the refeed is to regain intracellular glycogen and fullness, and ideally add a little bit of body weight. So if that's the case and you've been doing that, then you'll know whereabouts your calories ought to be in regards to a slight surplus. So then you'll know basically where to push your calories up to. So for me, I had the refeed data, so it was dead easy to sort of decide where my food needed to be. So I'd recommend between 500 to 1,000 calorie increase from your sort of normal diet, what you were consuming calories wise. I would do that primarily through carbohydrates as well, just to aid performance and recovery in the best sort of manner. This will obviously help a lot with getting your hormones into a healthier position. And with that will come obviously just feeling better day to day and performing better as well. And then with this time, we really want to be maximizing the position we're in terms of how lean we are, because we're in the best position really to sort of make the most of our nutrition. When the leaner you are, the more sensitive you are to food. Your nutrient sensitivity and your sort of nutrient partitioning ability is at its highest. So you want to make the most of this time by getting the food in, prioritizing the food around the training window, not just eating as much as you can, as fast as you can, and binging post diet or post prep. I do think you should enjoy some food, some off-plan food. So there's no reason not to have a couple of meals out, or have a takeaway here or there, have a couple of treats that you wouldn't have been allowing yourself during the diet. I definitely think that there's warrant to that from a sort of psychological side, a social aspect, time with family and friends where you allow yourself to sort of have food socially as well. But just make sure that you're not going stupid and binging and having everything that you've wanted to have, let's say through prep. What you're going to do throughout prep or throughout the fat loss phase is going to determine how you go into that gaining phase. So if you, throughout the whole of prep, were saving posts on Instagram of food posts of what you're going to have, you're not putting yourself in a good position, sort of, and it's not the healthiest relationship with food to be thinking, I'm going to eat all this when I go into a gaining phase. You're sort of setting yourself up to binge. So how you perform the prep or the diet is important as well. So make sure that when it comes to that, it's very similar to how the prep goes is very dependent on the off season. How the off season then goes is very dependent on the prep, and they feed into each other. So you need to make sure that you're really sort of planning ahead. If you don't perform an off season very well, then your calories won't be very high. You won't be in the best of positions to perform an optimal prep. And likewise, if you're sort of not performing the prep optimally, you're not going to be in a position to optimally perform the next off season or next gaining phase. So they all sort of tie into each other, and everything is done for a reason and managed for a reason. In terms of body weight, I would aim for around 5 pounds up from your stage weight pretty quickly. Get that weight on pretty quickly. I would say sort of £10 from your lightest weight, but it's very dependent on the individual. Some people's lightest weight might have been their show day weight, their stage weight. So I'd say around £5 up from stage weight. Get that on pretty quickly. Don't be afraid to see the scales go up, but then also don't be stupid and put on £25 in 2-3 weeks. Around £5, and then just work from there. Like I say, that would be a good position to start a gaining phase or an off season from. So that's nutrition and body weight covered. In terms of your training, give yourself a bit of a rest coming out of the diet to sort of just recover, have some time with friends and family, give your body a little bit of a break, and sort of recover from, obviously, normal training fatigue throughout the prep, but also from diet fatigue as well. So I gave myself 5 days complete rest. I think that's kind of a good sort of amount of time. Any longer and you're going to feel like you're just getting lazy. Any shorter and you're probably not going to be fully recovered, or you're never going to be fully recovered going back into it, but you're not going to be as recovered as you could be. I wouldn't just give yourself a day and go back into it. Give yourself some time. Be patient when you're going back into the gym. Don't feel like don't expect to feel invincible. You're not going to, just because you've got a bit more food in and a little bit more body weight as a bit of a cushion. You're not going to feel like you're doing peak off season. You're not going to feel amazing. You're not going to be chucking weight around and feeling like you're on top of the world. You're still going to feel a little bit beat up, and you're not just going to all of a sudden feel great. So don't expect that. Be smart in terms of your volume. Taper it back up to normal very slowly. The likelihood is throughout prep, if you performed it well, you were probably doing a lower volume approach than to the end of the prep to really focus on trying to hold on to as much strength as possible. Hopefully you won't have been doing any intensity methods, any intensifiers and any sort of set extenders, and don't just start chucking all those in at once. Taper it back up nice and slowly. As your recovery capabilities improve, so your volume or your intensifier as in the training, they should increase because you can accommodate for it. But until you can accommodate for it, don't start chucking stuff in. So yeah, that's pretty much it with training. And then in terms of sort of other variables, we've got keep the routine the same. That's one thing that I'd recommend. So think about the routine that you had in place for the prep or the fat loss phase in terms of when you were going on your walks to get your steps in, when you were having your meals, what time you were training, what time you're going to bed, what time you're getting up, your pre-bed routine, your morning routine. Keep it in place, because obviously if it was working in prep or the diet, then why wouldn't it work in the gaining phase? You're going to try and stay that routine and stay as optimal as you possibly can. And you'll feel better for it. Don't all of a sudden think, oh, well, I'm in off season, I'm eating more, I can be lazy. Stay as in routine as possible. And then other than that, just be patient. Like I said before, don't expect to start feeling amazing. Don't, start chucking loads of calories in and just try and get fat and think, oh, I'm just going to get strong. It's not going to benefit you just putting loads of weight on really quickly. Get a good amount on pretty quick and then just treat it like a normal off season. Try and gain a nice sort of slow rate. Focus on training performance. Don't just add food for the sake of it. Think to earn your food. Anytime that you are adding food, it's because it's needed in terms of body weight is regressing or training performance is regressing or holding for too long. And just don't rush the off season, because all that's going to do is just going to start to feel shit, get fat, and then need to diet anyway, and you've almost wasted that time coming out of a diet where you're in a real good position to grow. You don't want to waste it. Take your time, make the most of it. So yeah, that's pretty much everything covered in regards to the how to transition from a diet or an off season or a prep into a gaining phase or an off season. So I hope that made sense. If you've got any questions on any of that, please do ask. So guys, just got back from seeing Aaron. Obviously you'll have seen a little bit of what we did. I thought I'd tie this into this video just because, not that you should only look after yourself in a gaining phase or an off season or a bulk, whatever you want to call it, because I was seeing Aaron throughout prep anyway, but it's something that I think a lot of people neglect, is their recovery, or soft tissue work, recovering from any niggles, basically any issues that you've got. I think it's definitely worth seeing someone, and someone that they know, that knows what they're doing. Luckily, Aaron is spot on. He's well knowledgeable, and he's a good guy. He understands bodybuilding as well, and gets the fact that you don't want to go see someone that just says, "Oh, stop training." It's fucking annoying. So he's not like that. We work around things. Currently, I've got like a winging scapula on the left side, so it's really affecting me locking in on hinges, and it has done for a while now. So that's what we're working on currently. Hopefully, we'll get it sorted. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope that you found some value in the sort of the bulk of the video in terms of how to transition from a prep or a diet phase into a gaining phase or an off season. Like I said, if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments or drop me a message. I'll be happy to help. And stay tuned for the next video. If you could like this one, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and I will catch you all in the next one.